Have you ever noticed how the woods seem different at night? Not just darker, but alive? Before we begin, here's a question for you. What's the strangest thing you've ever found while hiking? Share your experience in the comments below. Tonight's stories might make you think twice about exploring the woods alone. Last October, I was documenting hiking trails in northern Montana for my photography blog. The autumn colors were at their peak, and I'd already captured stunning shots of golden larches and crimson maples. I'd done this countless times before, always carrying my professional camera and GPS tracker. The Blackleaf Canyon was my final location for the day. The morning started normally enough. The air was crisp, carrying that distinct fall scent of decaying leaves and pine. I'd planned to photograph the canyon's limestone cliffs catching the afternoon light. What I hadn't planned for was becoming part of someone else's twisted collection. At 4 p.m., something caught my attention. The trail markers weren't matching my map. The official blue blazes should have continued straight ahead, but they stopped abruptly. Instead, I found new ones, bright orange ribbons tied to trees that weren't on any official trail guide. They looked fresh, the material still crisp and vibrant against the bark. My instinct screamed to turn back, but my curiosity, that damned curiosity, got the better of me. I convinced myself it might be a newly marked trail not yet documented. What a great blog post that would make, right? The ribbons led deeper into an unmarked section of the woods. The trees grew denser, their branches intertwining overhead like gnarled fingers. The temperature dropped noticeably. After about 20 minutes, the forest floor changed. I noticed odd indentations in the earth, footprints, lots of them, all heading in the same direction. That's when I heard the first click. Distant, but distinct. Like a camera shutter. I should have turned back. Instead, I pressed on, following the orange ribbons until I reached a small clearing. What I saw there still haunts my dreams. In the center stood a crude shelter made of branches and tarps. But it wasn't the shelter that made my heart stop. It was what surrounded it. Dozens, if no, hundreds, of photographs were pinned to the trees in concentric circles around the shelter. Each photo showed different hikers, all taken from a distance, without their knowledge. Men, women, families with children, solo hikers like myself. Some were dated just days ago. The photos had annotations. Red marks circled certain hikers, notes scribbled in margins, alone. No cell signal. Returns every Tuesday. Takes same route. Then I saw my own photo. Me, from that very morning, checking my camera settings at the trailhead. It was still wet with printer ink. That's when I heard it again. A camera shutter clicking behind me. Closer this time. Followed by footsteps on dry leaves. I ran. My backpack caught on branches, but I didn't stop to free it. I just ran, hearing those footsteps keeping pace behind me. Not rushing, just maintaining distance. Like a predator confident in its hunt. I didn't stop until I reached my car. My hand shook so badly I dropped my keys twice before managing to unlock the door. As I sped away, I saw something in my rearview mirror, a figure at the tree line, raising a camera to its face. Later, when I checked my GPS tracker to report the location to authorities, I discovered something that still makes my skin crawl. According to the device, I had never left the main trail. The entire detour, the clearing, the shelter, the photos, didn't exist on any map. The rangers found nothing at the coordinates I provided. But 3 hikers have disappeared in that area since then. Sometimes I wonder, did I escape something that day, or did it let me go to spread this story? Last week, I received an envelope in my mail. No return address. Inside was a single orange ribbon and a photo of me running through the woods that day. On the back, written in red ink, "Your story isn't finished." Ever since then, I don't go hiking anymore. What would you have done if you found those photographs? Would you have investigated further or run immediately? Have you ever felt like you were being watched in the woods? Tell me in the comments below. As a geological surveyor, I've mapped hundreds of cave systems. February 15th changed everything. I was documenting a newly discovered cave network in the Ozarks when my equipment picked up an anomaly. The thermal imaging showed a heat signature moving through the parallel tunnel, impossible at that depth. My radio crackled with fragments of voices, though I was supposedly alone for miles. Following protocol, I marked my path with high visibility tape. 3 hours in, I found footprints in the mud. They weren't mine. They were walking alongside my own tracks, but I hadn't seen or heard anyone. The prints were fresh. My headlamp caught something reflecting in the darkness, a video camera, covered in mud, still recording. The timestamp showed it was lost 3 weeks ago. I played the footage. It showed another surveyor, recording his findings. But behind him, something moved in the shadows. Frame by frame, it got closer. The final frame showed a face, white, eyeless, with skin like wet paper. I heard rocks shifting behind me. The battery died before I could see what made that sound. I ran, following my markers. But something, had rearranged them. Each tape led deeper into the unknown. They found me 2 days later, dehydrated, at an exit point 5 miles from my entrance. The camera was gone. The cave system has been sealed off, but sometimes, late at night, my radio picks up static and fragments of my own voice from that day. Working as a wildlife researcher in the Olympic Peninsula meant long nights in observation posts. That rainy April evening, I was tracking wolf movements when my motion sensors triggered simultaneously across a 5-mile radius. Through my night vision equipment, I watched as every animal, the deer, elk, even the wolves, fled in the same direction. Away from something. The radio buzzed. My colleague Sarah, stationed 2 miles north, whispered, "Do you see them? The lights between the trees?" I didn't. But I saw something worse. Through my thermal scope, I spotted human-shaped heat signatures moving through the forest. Dozens of them. They walked in perfect synchronization, but their temperature was wrong, too cold, barely registering. Sarah's voice crackled again. "They're getting closer. Oh God, they're not walking on the ground." The feed from her station showed empty forest. But the thermal image revealed figures suspended mid-air, surrounding her post. Then her camera tilted up. The last transmission I heard, "They want us to see something. They're showing me, no, please, I don't want to dash." They never found Sarah. The official report blamed equipment malfunction and harsh weather. But they can't explain the footage from that night. Every camera in a 50-mile radius recorded the same thing at 3:33 a.m., thousands of heat signatures ascending into the sky. I quit my job the next day. But last week, I received an envelope. Inside was a single photo of me, taken that night, from above. What's the most unexplainable thing you've witnessed in the woods at night? Would you keep watching if you saw something impossible? If these stories kept you on edge, hit like and subscribe for more. Remember, the woods hold secrets, and sometimes they want to share them.